Kathleen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Denise O'Sullivan is starting. That's the news this morning we all wanted to wake up to.
Yeah, she is fit and she is starting. It was Tony from RT that asked the question, and I don't even think he got halfway through it before Vera was like, she's fit, she's starting, and I'm glad. And Katie interrupted her and said, I'm glad too. So I think there was a bit of a sigh of relief around the room whenever she said that. She's come through all the training sessions fine. The team have another training session now this evening, which she's expected to compete in fully. So that will be her first proper full training session since the incident on Friday. But yeah, it's all looking good from this side of the world.
All is well that ends well. So this was the first press conference that there was with the whole world's media that we were chatting about yesterday, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So today was the first one. It was a little bit of a damn squid, I won't lie. It was less than 12 minutes long, and there wasn't much opportunity to ask too many questions. World media just seemed more interested in how we were going to stop Sam Kerr. I don't know if they were hoping to get some sort of insight from us for later on in the tournament. But yeah, I expected there to be a few more awkward questions thrown Vera Pauw's way, but there wasn't actually any at all. It was all about the match and how much it means to be kind of setting off in such a big stadium. I was fortunate enough to have a bit of a look around the stadium when I came in, and it's big. You know, you hear 80,000 in your head and you're like, oh yeah, that's a big stadium, and then you walk out into it and you're like, whoa. So it'll be interested to see how some of the Irish players fare with that tomorrow. Yeah, especially the bowls, because there's no standing. I presume there's no standing, is there? No, it's all seated.
There was a little mini incident at the start where our Australian host got our captain's name wrong.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward one. The FIFA rep was introducing everyone, so introduced Vera Pauw, and then she was like, and the Ireland captain, Katie McCain, and everyone was like, ooh. And Katie straight away was like, it's actually McCabe, and even that got a bit of an ooh, because when Katie McCabe tells you how to pronounce her name properly, you pronounce her name properly. So yeah, not a great start from them, but it was all smoothed over.
Was the FIFA official Australian, or was it like one of their Swiss boffins?
I think it was an Australian.
Hey, there you go. That's all we need.
So. Philly can come out with a great one this morning. She's going to have a chip on her shoulder being called McCain, which is pretty Philly.
I've just got that now. I heard it. I heard it in real time. I was like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, she will have a chip on her shoulder. Yeah, now, yeah. Now, sorry. It's very early sometimes in the morning when we're having these conversations. Fair play to Phil.
Yeah.
Kathleen, was it 12 minutes because the questions ran dry, or because it was cut short 12 minutes?
It was just cut short in 12 minutes by the FIFA rep. I know the team had like quite a tight turnaround, so they had to get over to another one of the training grounds. They're not training within the stadium here today, so they had to get to that training session. So I assume that's why it was so short, because there was plenty more hands up to ask questions. Like, I'd say less than half of the people who actually wanted to ask a question managed to. And it was unfortunate because, I don't know, match day -1, first press conference of the tournament, you kind of expected a bit more, but yeah, it was very short, very tight, not a massive amount of news out of it. Katie had a nice line towards the end where she was asked what is she going to do or say to the players tomorrow to kind of, you know, get them ready for the game, and she was like, I'm going to keep that in-house, but I just would like everyone to know that what you see on the pitch is going to be us giving our all. So yeah, exciting. She also put a shout out to anyone who hasn't already got their viewing party sorted. I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys have planned for tomorrow. I know you'll still be in work, but I'm expecting a big office showing for it. She encouraged everyone who was not already signed up to a viewing party to get on it. So definitely do that. And anyone who is organising one, please do tag me in photos on Twitter, because I would love to see it. I kind of miss the fact that I'm not seeing all the hype back home.
Yeah, it's going to be I'm going to be in Joe Quaid's house in Limerick.
All right.
So hopefully he has the tally on. I'm sure he will. I think everyone you have to plan where you're going to be, because it's a random time. 11 a.m. So it's 11 a.m. kick-off our time, Kathleen, isn't it?
Yeah,
on the nose.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's 8 o'clock here, 11 for you. So
presumably there are viewing parties around
all over, yeah,
workplaces. Yeah.
Those messages that you're getting.
There's loads of pubs and stuff in Dublin as well that are opening early. I know there's a couple like around where our office is as well. So,
well, we'll be. In case
anyone wants a little
shout out, yeah, or if anyone, well, yeah. Literal or metaphorical. Those messages that you were talking about getting tagged in, you sent one I think from Blessington yesterday, and it was amazing.
Yeah, there's some really, really great ones being sent on to me. So a lot from around where Abby Larkin is from. That's kind of been the main one that I've seen around Ringsend. Seems to have gone absolutely crazy for it. Really, really nice video from Blessington, from the local football team. All the little girls kind of recorded a special message for Louise Quinn and the rest of the team, wishing them luck. I'm getting sent in loads of pictures as well of just people generally in their houses who have decorated the house up. I've had messages from people who are Irish but living in Australia, who are messaging into the COYGIG account saying that they see this as such an opportunity to make sure that their kids have that little bit of Irish heritage, especially being so far away from home, and for the younger ones who maybe don't really understand yet quite, what being Irish is or what it means to go home, and sending me lots of videos of how decked out their houses are. So it's important at home, but this is also something that's gone pretty global as well, which is quite cool. It's nice to see. I've been sent a few pictures of dogs dressed up as well. So literally everyone is getting involved. If you're not getting involved, what are you doing? You're just a sad person.
All we need now is just a little bandwagon push, an early goal and some kind of result, and all of a sudden we'd all be like, yeah, time to go mental.
Yeah. Wouldn't be like the Irish to jump on a bandwagon at any point.
No.
I'm all in favour of bandwagons. Life is very busy for people, and the bandwagon comes along, you got to get behind it.
I'm not dissing it down. I mean, sure, look at the Irish hockey team when they did the run in the World Cup. I think hockey was suddenly everyone's favourite sport in the country for about 6 weeks or however long the tournament went on for. So yeah, no, definitely jump on it, watch it. It's at a nice time. You can just have it chilling on in the background if you want, get excited, have some fun. Lots of Irish around Sydney who have travelled here, whether either from within Australia or from Ireland itself. So going to be a good atmosphere. It's not going to be an Australian takeover. I think it's going to be pretty 50-50.
You brought us behind the curtain in the stadium. I believe we have little footage here. 6 seconds. Oh, wow. It is huge. Massive.
It is big. Yeah, and it looks really well, I have to say. The pitch looks really nice. The colours for the tournament are really nice, and they've done a really good job of decorating it. They had like the big scoreboard up and they were testing it out, and the goals were going up and down, and Ireland were always going slightly one ahead of Australia, and I was like, I like this. Let's keep that going tomorrow evening. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's... Sorry?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just saying it's like the stadium itself is like a bit of a drive outside of the main Sydney area, but you can get a train out here, so I expect fully all the trains tomorrow to just be wedged with Irish supporters. Yeah.
Do we have any idea when the starting 11 will be announced, or when you get a feel for that yourself?
I feel like I could tell you right now what the starting is going to be. I don't think it's going to change, like I was saying yesterday from the France team. I imagine it'll be a couple of hours before kickoff, just based on previous tournaments. Generally, it's like between 45 minutes to an hour and 15 before kickoff.
So could you get a sense, even, I know it's only 12 minutes, but seeing the players, is there kind of a difference in body language now and tension racketing up, or is there more excitement levels?
Not really, because it was only Katie that was here today. I assume the rest of the players probably just went straight to the training ground, but she was just cool as a cucumber. Very classic Katie McCabe. Didn't seem to take a fizz out of her whatsoever. Vera, much the same. I kind of feel like Vera has been running out of steam a little bit the closer and closer we get to the tournament. There's been a lot of stuff happening and a lot of things that she's been contending with, and definitely seems a little gentler is the wrong word, but there's a spark, I think, that seems like has been coming from maybe a bit of fatigue and tiredness on her side. And I definitely felt that a little bit more again today. Not as bad as it was last week when we were in Brisbane, but yeah, I feel like maybe she is taking on a lot of the weight of things.
What has the team's link-ups with their family been like? Because I saw a lot of the family members catching up with players at the airport in Sydney, I presume it was. And even Amber Barrett's brother, by the way. I think it's Amber Barrett's brother. She looks more like Amber Barrett than... Like, oh my God. Absolutely identical. Was that the first opportunity in a while that got to see their family, or how does that worked?
It kind of depended. So a lot of the families just came straight into Sydney, so they would have just been here the last couple of days. But then other family members were based in Brisbane or went over to Brisbane. So like I know Katie was able to spend some time with her family over the weekend. Louise Quinn was the same because her sister is based in Melbourne, I think, and she came straight to Brisbane and then came over to Sydney. So it just depended on a lot of the players. But I know, like say for Amber Barrett, like when she saw her dad and stuff, that was one of the first times that she got to see him since they left Ireland. So emotional scenes for them. And again, that's the thing, like there's just so much to this. You kind of, every time you get over one emotional thing of like, you know, the squad is picked and then you have all the big going aways and then you land here and you're getting over the jet lag, you kind of keep thinking, okay, there's not going to be something else, and then there is something else. So how the team handle that emotional toil of the constant up and downs is going to be very interesting, because I mean we keep saying it here in the press pack, like everyone feels like we've already done a tournament and a ball hasn't even been kicked yet. So the next week is going to be really interesting to see, can the team sustain their momentum.
You have to assume that's the same for everybody. And while we would have had the emotion of the going away, is that getting the 23 Matildas from across Australia, it's a really nice moment, but I'm sure for Australia it's incredibly emotional. And Cathy Freeman coming in, you know, if it works, it's amazing. But there is also this, well, I delivered a gold medal when the entire world thought that maybe I was going to crap out and not be able to do it, and then I absolutely romped home and killed the whole place, and the stadium erupted and I united the country in a way that nobody else has ever done. No pressure, kids. Two ways of looking at the Cathy Freeman thing, definitely. Obviously, you know, you would definitely be leading into the amazing achievement and getting as much of that to rub off as you possibly can. There was a Players Tribune article from Katie McCabe where she talked about that moment in her life where she gets named captain, I think in the aftermath of Liberty Hall, and also is working in Nando's full time, and then a month later is a full time professional footballer.
I mean, I say it's an incredible story, but it's also one that you've just become so accustomed to hearing as well in the women's game. I think what makes Katie stand out is how quickly she made that rocket from being a decent player to like a very, very good player and absolutely crucial to Ireland's hopes. Like she talks in that piece as well about the influence of, say, people like Emma Byrne and how important she was for her development. I think I forget sometimes how young Katie McCabe still is. You know, like we're the same age, and in my head she's about 10 years older, has been here forever, is a font of wisdom and knowledge, but it actually has been such a short amount of time since she was working in that Nando's. Wasn't, you know, the Katie McCabe that is feared the world over. So it's an incredible trajectory and it's an incredible story, and I think it'll only be probably when she retires that we will properly appreciate how much she took on her shoulders from such a young age, especially with the Ireland captaincy. You know, there was an expectation when she became captain that it was going to be someone like Louise Quinn or Niamh Fahey. It wasn't going to be her. And then that chance was taken on her, and you have to say it has fully worked out so far. It's
a remarkable occurrence, Kathleen, because it wasn't like she had experience of being captain at underage level either. And like she wasn't having a good time at Arsenal. She was about to go on loan to Glasgow City, and then to get this huge, you could call it a burden or an opportunity, and she decided to go with the latter, because she said herself in the article that I didn't know what I was doing, but I had no time to think about that. I just had to act like a captain. Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And like, to be fair to her as well, she would pay a lot of like credit to those players that I mentioned before in terms of helping her adjust to that position. And I think we've talked about it before on COYGIG. It must have been very strange for those players, you know, Louise and Niamh, who were such stalwarts in the team, have been there for so long, were older, more experienced, to have this kind of young whippersnapper come in and suddenly take the captaincy, and to have the grace to turn around and say, well, okay, this is obviously, someone thinks this is for the good of the team, so we're going to help her and we're going to support her, and we're not going to hold a grudge in this situation. And I think that speaks to how close this team is and how much it is very a case of we lift each other up. We don't tear each other down, or we don't let egos get in the way. And I really hope they can keep that rolling and keep that going, because obviously things are changing a lot very fast in terms of players getting, you know, bigger contracts in the WSL, more media access, more attention on the team than ever before. So I do hope that is something that stays with the team.
You'd hope it will, and that's one of those opportunities that they have, not to follow the route of the way the men's game has gone and everybody's so far and distant and unapproachable and not really part of the community anymore. What happens over the next 24 hours?
So the team are training tonight, and then they have the opportunity to just chill for the evening. I am off back into Sydney on the hunt for some Irish people to bring you guys a little bit of the atmosphere. I've been given a few tips as to where the best places to find people are. And then tomorrow, the team basically has the day to themselves until they have to come over to the stadium a couple of hours before. So there's a couple of videos up on Off the Ball socials chatting to a few players in terms of what they'll be doing. But it'll just be taking it easy. Couple of walks, couple of going for coffee, reading a book. Courtney Brosnan said that's what she's going to be doing. She's going to be reading a book and chilling, just having a little bit of time to herself. A couple of players are going to go listen to some music. So it's going to be chill until all hell breaks loose in Sydney tomorrow evening.
How to beat Australia in the first game of World Cup.
Yeah, that's a good book. Good book.
Exactly, yeah.
Come here to me now. Sydney versus Brisbane. Discuss.
I did, when I was in Brisbane, I was like, oh, this school's interesting. And then I came to Sydney and I was like, oh, okay, this is so much more electric and interesting as a city. Brisbane is very chill.
Isn't
like,
it?
people get up there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then by like 7 o'clock in the evening, people just don't exist. It's like, it's very much a get up, do yoga, go for coffee, exercise, go to work. Very wholesome sort of city vibe, whereas Sydney definitely feels like it has a bit more of a buzz to it. And also, to be fair, the thing that probably shifted my opinion on the two was that I came to Sydney and it automatically felt like there was a World Cup being hosted here. You know, you couldn't walk for signs that it was happening, or even just running into people with like different jerseys on, whereas in Brisbane, you literally, I don't think I met one person that I talked to that actually knew the World Cup was happening, or else they were kind of vaguely like, oh yeah, I've heard something about that. There's a game up the stadium tonight. And I was like, well, no, that game's actually on in Melbourne tonight, but you're close. So I think I probably preferred Sydney so far, but I've heard from some of the Aussie media who are here today, who were in Brisbane after I'd left, that things were starting to pick up a little bit there. So maybe once the tournament actually starts, there'll be a bit more of a buzz. I'm hoping to go to one of the games at the weekend, so I'll let you know then if the vibe has settled a bit more.
We've been waiting 9 months. You could say we've been waiting 21 years. The World Cup is finally here. Kathleen, we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will chat to you tomorrow.
Catch you tomorrow, guys.